Welcome to the Untrapped podcast, where we're motivated and inspired about success, small business, and personal development. And now, Keith Kalfas.
I'm feeling peaceful and inspired and motivated. You know, when you do something because you love it, because it's your calling, it's your purpose, you're creating art, you're a creator, and you're inspired, which means you're in spirit, and you have enthusiasm, which means the God within. The world feels like a dance, like it's this unfolding moment by moment. Everything is perfection, and it's a state of consciousness, a lens that you see everything through, and it's a state of being where you're just like, wow. And everything's fine. Little imperfections don't even bother you. You don't even notice them. And as you put one foot in front of the other, you don't feel any pain. You're just happy. You're inspired in a flow state, and you lose track of time even when you're in this beautiful state of equanimity, right? It's an amazing place to be, and we don't always get to be in this state. Now, what prevents us from being in this state? Well, there's certain thieves of this state, like it's comparison. If you were having a fantastic day and then you looked at somebody else or somebody on social media who you compare yourself to, and then all of a sudden now you feel scarcity or lack. Now, what does that create? It creates a scarcity mindset. It's a deficit. There's a story going on that says, oh, you must not be worthy, or because you don't have what they have. Or if you have created some type of success and then you told yourself a story how it wasn't enough. So when you change the way you see things, the things you see literally change. If you could be in a beautiful state of consciousness moment by moment, and you have all the wealth in the world, and when you're in a beautiful state of consciousness and you have peace flowing through you, you're in a flow state, you're not in a forceful state, you're in a place of power, then every cell in your body relaxes and just floats. Your nervous system regulates, your vagus nerve relaxes, your immune system goes up. Imagine a beach ball that you're holding down underneath the water, and you're struggling and you finally get so exhausted you just let go. What does the beach ball do? It floats up and pops up to the surface. It just floats on top. Why? Because that's its natural state. So with each breath in and out, everything is great. Let's say you wanted to, I don't know, get out in the sun and work and get a tan. And you all of a sudden became aware, if you're a white guy like me, how pale you are. Oh my God, I need to get a tan. Or if you want to go to the gym and work out, you become obsessed with it, and you take your shirt off and you realize that your body you don't have perfect ripped abs. So you start comparing yourself or beating yourself up. It's like, what if God made me perfect just the way that I am, and I'm here to create and serve? There's this feeling. It's a feeling of being rushed. That feeling, if I could quantify one of the most stressful feelings of all, it's the feeling of the real people who have done this to you, and the repetitive voices in your head that are saying, hurry up, move faster. You're not moving fast enough. You need to move faster. You need to get it done. Why? So it can be perfect. Why? So you can make more money. So you can what? And avoid. When you ask yourself the deeper questions to these things, it always goes back to some type of lack or some type of suffering. So human beings, we're fascinating how we we cause our own suffering. But I noticed that if you can allow yourself to be in a beautiful state, you don't disregard all your responsibilities. You obviously be a good human. But when you're in a beautiful state, everything seems to just go smoother. You're not bothered. So here's one point. If you are upset and you come home from work and you walk into the house and you're so on edge, whether you're aware of it or not, the very feeling of you being stressed out and being on edge could trigger another person. Or if they're already on edge, or even if something is a phone call, these are like what Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now and a New Earth, he talks about pain bodies. They interact and they communicate with each other. This sub communication. They're almost like entities, and they fight and they trigger the lower astral or the shadow self to get all upset. But why is this happening? It's because we as humans, we have these things where we feel like we need to constantly be performing because we feel unworthy. So we create these secondary emotional payoffs and we engineer circumstances so we can get our hits, these neuropeptides in our brain that are addicted to fear and anger and frustration. We will, if there's not a real situation, we'll engineer a situation so we can feel that. But deep down underneath all the layers, we have fears of unlove and abandonment. We're terrified of being abandoned. We're terrified of not being loved, not being good enough. Right? So we fight and we fight and we fight because all we want to do is impress or impress upon it to show that we are worthy of love. That's what it really all boils down to. It's amazing how we're wired. I bet you tons of people are coming and watching this and like, this isn't going to get me. This isn't going to get me the Bugatti. The Bugatti. So I'm out of here. Bugatti. Bugatti. People are going to be laying in their own coffin in a freaking tuxedo in the coffin, shaking. Bugatti. Bugatti. I want the Bugatti. I want the Bugatti. We've been lied to. we've been shafted so hard, and we all did it to ourselves. We're literally 25,000 years behind in spiritual evolution. If it ain't getting me to Bugatti, why do you want the Bugatti? So you can feel loved. You want to be significant. No, because I want the Bugatti. A lot of people are rich physically, but poor mentally. You know, it's funny. I feel like I'm coming full circle. Like I've climbed a mountain and I went and I was able to look and see what was on the other side. And I was like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was. This is all just a bunch of pain and suffering. I kind of liked it over here in the green pastures where I could just be me and be a creator. I was so happy. Like they say, ignorance is bliss, like the Matrix, but it's not. Ignorance is pain. Here's my point. If you build something, build it consciously and know why you're building it, so you can build it for the right reasons. Because if you are building something because deep down inside you feel so insignificant, and you're trying to avoid pain and suffering, and you're building something just so you could be significant, so you can get love, or because you're terrified of unlove and abandonment or whatever, you're going to build this thing, and it's going to take you blood, sweat, and tears. It's going to take you 10, 15, 20 years. And when you're crying at a funeral of somebody you love that you didn't get to spend time with, or that you were too motivated to deal with their bull crap, and you're suffering grievously as their body is being lowered into the ground, and it all becomes very vividly clear to you that you're never going to see them ever again because you wanted the Bugatti. All they wanted was your love and your presence and your attention and your time. They just wanted it to be significant to you. Right now, there's a family living in a single wide trailer in a mobile home, and they're eating dinner together. They might be eating dollar menu. And, dad might go outside and throw a ball back and forth with his son, and they might be doing arts and crafts. They're all eating popcorn and watching a movie, and they might be the richest family in the whole city. Right now, there's a very rich man who's worth, I don't know, $500 million. And he's falling asleep with an empty bottle of alcohol next to him in bed with his shoes still on, because his wife left him and went and married a man who doesn't have a fraction of the money that he has, because this man is actually present and conscious with her, and she was suffering. Now, you should never get divorced. I know that's just my thing, but I'm just saying, like, the suffering was so bad. And the whole time he thought that all the money, and maybe that man was just running to create all that money because he wanted to be significant to his father, who ignored him and never even looked in his eyes growing up. And here he is with nothing. So the clock is ticking. And some of these inconvenient truths are very hard because the spiral dynamic of your value hierarchy of what is your values, if you start to break them apart and rearrange them and analyze what really makes you tick, your hands might start shaking in horror. You might not like what you see. And to me, to go and build a multi-million-dollar business and to have people on payroll and supporting people's families without being incredibly conscious about why you're doing it and doing it for the right reasons, that's kind of it's a risky thing to do, and you can do it. But I wonder how many men or women have midlife crises because they built something because they were building it out of fear of unlove and abandonment. They were just running away from pain. They were running away from the pain in their life towards something that the society told them that was good. And they got the drop top Mercedes. They built the $1 million business. And why do they feel empty inside? Why are they still emotionally in debt? Don't let it take a funeral or a trip to a rehab or a midlife crisis to wake up to stuff like this. Herman Albert just said, if you build it, will come. Money does not make you happy. It only makes you comfortable. Take time for family. You only have one set I love that. Jay, baby, what's up? Oh, starting a landscaping business in Metro Detroit. I'm excited for you. T says amen. Teed out. Keith putting us on game. Sick with it. Gregory Pearson. Why is business so slow so far for spring work? I don't know the answer. It might be slow where you're at. It's weird how that works. Why is business slow for you? But if you could take a discerning blade and cut through to the truth and ask yourself what percentage of it is you and what percentage of it is the economics, what do you and what don't you have control over it? God grant me the serenity to, what is it? Accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because Gregory Pearson, brother, for all of the right advice might be the wrong advice for you. But I wish that you, brother, are so busy in your business and you're making so much money hand over fist and you don't even know why it's happening, that you have brothers asking you, how are you making so much money? And instead of you saying, it's because I'm so smart, you actually humbly say, I don't know why. I'm just very blessed and all this money keeps coming and it won't stop coming. I don't know. I'm just humble enough to say I don't know. I've worked my guts out and made very little money. And I've literally slept until 11 a.m. and laid around scrolling on social media and watching movies and have made lots of money. I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, it's insane. It's so crazy. I mean, obviously I put in work, but so there's I know one thing. Can you, it's a question. Can you detach from the jurisdiction of commerce, from this whole thing we have? I have a friend who calls it like the public charitable trust, and get into a completely different realm where the only way to stop it is to cut your head off. I'm talking about this beautiful state of consciousness, this beautiful mind. Where nobody can take it from you. If you've read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl, you'll know what I mean. It's an inner candle flame that never flickers. I have this crazy, I'd say it's a healthy infatuation with my wife. We've been together, like we've had 15 Valentine's days. She'll be in the kitchen stirring her coffee. You're like, oh, here Kalfas goes talking about his wife again. I'll never stop. I will spin her around and I'll just hug her and kiss her. And sometimes she's annoyed by it. And then other times she loves it. Because I call and text my sisters. I call my aunts and my uncles, and I I understand so. I have this word popping in mind. I'm looking at the word incredulously, but I want to make sure I'm saying I have like probably 300 saved words. Uh, incredulously meaning.
Here's the definition of incredulously: in a manner indicating disbelief.
Oh, unwilling to admit or accept what is offered as true. Because I was thinking the opposite is like more like incredible. Basically, I really understand that we're in a flesh and blood body, and when this body dies and goes into the ground, I know for a fact that there is a afterlife. I went to I don't say anything personal, but I attended a funeral about a week ago, and I was there for a while, and while at the final place of resting, there was a hall of where all these people that I don't know who they are, but I saw all the last names. And this was actually indoors. There was this indoor section of the cemetery, and there was all these glass boxes, shadow boxes, with actual pictures of all these people who had passed away in 1970, 82, 96, 2002, 2005, 2021. Like, and when I saw the pictures, this is amazing. If you're watching this right now, do not swipe away. Watch what I'm about to say. I very respectfully keeping my distance. I understand to be respectful, but I see all these names and pictures of people behind glass who had, where their families can come visit them. But there was nobody in this area that I was at. And I saw pictures of people who had just passed away in 2021 or 2018. And it was a picture of like Bob or Sue or Mary or Joe. And like, they were smiling, and like, you could see the life in their eyes as though they're here right now. They were so alive and so present that the spirit man or the spirit woman that animated the body, like this, the eyes are the windows to the soul, was boom, like vibrant with life and laughing in a moment. There were these candid pictures of these people and people with their families. And, I'd stop and I'd look at these people and I said, wow, but they're not alive. Like, it's hard to believe just by looking at the picture. They were so alive, but now they're not. And then I realized that when the person dies and the body goes into the ground or whatever, it gets cremated, that, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed, that was never them. This is just the primordial quantum spacesuit that we put on. Like, in order to get into this reality, you have to be born, the cells, the egg and all this stuff. Like, you have to be born and come out of a womb into this reality, like a fish in an aquarium in its aquatic environment, into this reality. And the only way to interface, the conscious spiritual, the only way to interface with this reality and breathe the oxygen, the CO2, and we eat the earth and the plants and the vegetables and the animals, is in this, in a human body that can survive the elements of this third rock from the sun, this quantum, whatever this thing is that we're in, right? This, we call it Earth, right? But the only way to live on this thing, you have to be a plant or an animal or a human. But this thing in my eyes that's animating me right now, that's making me alive, and like, there's a conscious chooser behind all of this, that I'm observing this happening right now. I'm like, and then I look at, like, I'm totally sober, by the way. I mean, look, I have complete control over this. What a blessing. I can even do the chicken dance. So my point is, and we go around beating ourselves up because we don't have a Cadillac Escalade, or because, like, we compare ourselves to other. It's crazy how much how this beautiful miracle that we're in and that we have, and we kind of know why we're here, and that's but then we fall into these like crazy belief systems that cause so much suffering. It's truly fascinating. Let me read some of these comments. Scott Doran says, some things you can't control, but I'm not going to be full of regret when my time is up. Keep the faith. Very wise. Gregory Pearson says, I can put these here. Gregory Pearson says, a friend that owns a landscaping company says people are worried about spending money due to the economy. That's true. But there's this saying, upper middle class and wealthy people will always spend money. They always spend money on luxury stuff. No matter what the economy is, they're always spending money. Gage Minnick, add me as a friend. And I agree with you, but thank you. If you send me a friend request, Gage, I can go and accept it. I know my personal page has like 5,000 friends. It's like a limit or something. What is your current business revenue? I don't know. It's a lot lower than you would think, like 383,000. People on here like, what? I thought Kalfas made like $5 million a year. He only makes 383,000. Unsubscribed. Loser. Burpees giant. Bro, you motivate me to actually work out and do burpees. Thank you. What up, dog? He says, I'm going to get ready to watch Kings game. Just wanted to say God bless. Thanks for everything, bro. Oh, man, that's awesome. The talk is real deep right now. Della Rosa Landscaping. Antoine. Did I say Antoine? Is that how I say your name? Johnson? Programming. Bro, I watched the stuff that your posts on Facebook. There was like an entire year. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Antoine Johnson. Am I saying it right? Okay. It's crazy. For like a year, a lot of the stuff you were posting on Facebook was in a line, kind of like with what I was thinking about or going through, and you would post these profoundly wise things. And I was like, wow, like we are on the same page with a lot of things and a lot of things that you are awake to or we're waking up to. And I really appreciate you. And you have, I don't know, we're just on a similar path. I was actually going to make this observation and compliment you, like, yeah, man, you really get it. But would that be just my ego saying, yeah, I really get it? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so I'll talk about this and then I'll jump off here and I'll probably make this an episode on the Untrapped podcast. Whenever we're trying to get something out of something, it turns our passion into a grind. Ooh, that was smart. Herman Albert just said, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. That is fire, bro. Jay Baby says, tips for starting a landscaping business in Michigan. Yes. I think you should subscribe to Lawn and Landscape podcast and YouTube channels. Get in the Facebook groups and go full immersion around other business owners and go on like Amazon and buy landscaping books, audible.com, and get books about the business. And then attend live events where lawn and landscape pros are at, Green Industry, Michigan Green Industry Association. Even if you have to drive to like I think it's the Illinois chapter, the International Society of Arboriculture, and get around horticulturalists, people that do botany, landscaping, go to the landscaping events, go to the Equip Expo, and get around landscapers that you'll be able to sit and break bread with and eat dinner with and hang out with. And you get to talking to some of these people and you'll realize that there's people that are just like you who go through or have gone through a lot of the same maybe challenges you have. And then you'll hear their stories and you'll be like, what? You're doing 400,000 a year? And they're like, and then they'll actually tell you how. And then you're like, you just go home transformed, right? It's really freaking amazing. And then your subconscious mind reshuffles the deck, and the full immersion part, just by being around other landscapers, levels up your whole consciousness, and you just learn all these tips. And in about 2 to 3 years, I mean, You just go straight up. It's amazing. It's just that's it. Just get around as many landscapers as you can. He says, I've been looking for that. Yeah. I have been I had a hard time finding any mentors, and I had to literally turn to the internet. I mean, but uh ebooks, audiobooks, just type in, yeah. It's this saying, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, is kind of true. And you'll realize it's been all around you this whole time, but your part of your brain called the reticular activating system hasn't kicked in yet. And when it does, it's like if you buy like a white truck, a white Ford truck, you start seeing white Ford trucks everywhere. Read the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. That's amazing. But just by the very tone of how you're communicating, I can already tell that it's all coming into alignment for you, and you don't have to do anything else than keep doing what you're doing. And it's just going to start to permeate your subconscious, and it's going to come alive. That's awesome. It says Fin Flow Dolphin. Advice for a 12-year-old that has started a business with window cleaning and other household tasks. That's amazing. Just keep doing it. And I wish I would have started a business that age. I think when I was 14 or 15, I went and bought a scrubber and a squeegee because we do window cleaning. And I actually wanted to start a window cleaning business, and I tried knocking on a few doors, and then I just kind of gave up, and I went back to my normal job because I had 2 jobs when I was 14. And then I didn't actually start my actual service business until I was 27. So whenever I hear freaking teenagers starting businesses, I was like, and they're like, how do I start that? Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, he says something, that's when you should be take the most amount of chances, because you can mess up for a decade and wake up and you're like only 27 and you're still young. And here's another thing that I'm learning. I just turned 42 a few weeks ago. I went through this phase because I have gray in my beard now, and I started feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm old now. I'm old. What the fuck? Bro, I could take off running and sprint full speed around my whole block. I could do burpees, push-ups, jumping jacks, frickin' power bike workout. I feel healthier now and more consciously, like my mind body experience and my spirit, than I've ever felt in my entire life. So he said, I've never went full throttle with something as I do in this business. That's awesome. He says, I'm 23 and I'm rushing to start. Burpees Giant said, first coaching call I ever made online was to Keith. Bro, that was an awesome call. It was awesome talking with you. He says, I've been working at Amazon for 3.5 years and I'm ready for the transition. That's awesome. If I worked at Amazon, I'd be looking around at the way all the systems work, the software, the communication, the distribution, and just letting my subconscious mind saying, wow, this is how a systemized business operates. And then you could just go implement that into your little business and get different, cross-pollinate the results. Trevor Taylor says, I manufacture controlled failures for my son in business so that he will develop the mindset of pushing through failures for the rest of his life so he can do 100x better than I did. Wow, that's interesting. I manufacture controlled failures. Wow. That kind of reminds me of this book I'm listening to right now. It was recommended by Tommy Mello, the founder of A1 Garage Door. It's called Something about no. Let me look it up. You got to check this out. This book changed my life, and I listened to the entire book today. It's book 480 that I've read. Here it is. Go for no. That's what's called. Go for no. It's basically stop being so afraid of failure and just get as many no's as you can, because that'll get you to the yeses faster. And if you're afraid of something, go do it more often, right? And stop being so afraid and get used to it. And then it won't bother you anymore. You won't be afraid of all the rejection, right? Because we hate to be rejected. Absolutely a blessing. Thank you, and thank you. I'm in this one. Keith, you're the frickin' man. I'm a lawn and landscaper in Metro Detroit. Metro Detroit. That's awesome, brother. Much honor and respect to you as well. And I hope to shake your hand one day, brother. And I understand you clearly. And I respect you. I like that. All right. Well, it's been a fantastic evening. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say one last thing.
If you are looking for the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, and track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. If you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith, and after the trial, if you decide to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith.
I'm going to be careful how I say it so I don't get pulled into a lower dimension. Here you go. When you realize what your purpose is and you operate from a place of love and you put one foot in front of the other and you operate on faith, you can do amazing things. But if you allow yourself to be rushed for the wrong reasons, compare yourself to other people, and tell yourself if you had what they have, you'd be happier, or people would love you more. It's actually a lie. So you have to catch yourself if you're telling yourself a lie, and you have to challenge that lie. And it might be very painful. Because I know you want more. I know you want success, and I know you want money, and you want the Bugatti and all that stuff. But if you wrap your identity in that stuff, there's one thing I want to do sometimes at night. I go on, so I'll just say, for some stupid reason, it's not stupid to me. I want a brand new Range Rover. Every time I tell anybody that, they get furious. Range Rovers, and they say bad things if they've heard about Range Rovers. And why do you want to? Because they're just telling me that they don't want a Range Rover, and they're actually disapproving and trying to talk me out of my dream. It actually makes people upset. And then I feel like some type of I feel shame. I feel inadequacy. I feel guilty. I have self-judgment. I beat myself up, and I've had a ton of, and it's a materialistic, and here's why. In 2008, I was working for $9.50 an hour at a collision shop. I had a beat up Chrysler LeBaron with the shocks and struts were blown. So at a red light, the thing was bouncing literally like this. It was so embarrassing. And the motor blew up. I only had that car for 2 weeks. I'm at a red light on lunch break, and some dude that was older than me, a little bit older than me, pulled up in a Range Rover at the red light, and his windows are down, and he had like the radio on, and he looked like he had just gotten out of the gym or something. This dude was like, he looked like he was financially successful, and he had his whole life figured out. Stupid story I told myself because I was in a piece of crap LeBaron. And I look over in this awesome Range Rover, and I was like, wow, I want to be like that. I want to be the guy in the Range Rover one day. I told myself a story, right, of how I'm less than. I used to do that when I started my landscape business. I had the Blue Goose truck. Everything I ever drove was the biggest piece of crap on the road, rust all over it. I always drove literally the biggest piece of crap on the road. And so I made a red light, and I'm like in my late 20s or even 30. And I would see these punk 21-year-old kids, that's what they were to me, in brand new $60,000 trucks with the radio up. I'm the shit, dog. I'm the shit because I got a $60,000 truck. And I'm sitting in I'm a grown ass man sitting in my putt in the Blue Goose with the rust all over it, afraid it's going to break down at the red light. And there's some 21-year-old kid in a $60,000 all over the place. They're all over in $60,000 trucks. And they all just they're just better than me. I'm cursed. They're all geniuses and I'm an idiot. I'm like, wait a second. I've read 250 books. I love God. I'm successful in my mind. I'm in great shape. I have my own business. I'm systematically saving money. I'm growing my business. I love my family. And I literally told myself a story that I'm a complete idiot moron. And I got so upset. I don't know if I've ever actually, a couple times. I'd be at the gas station pumping gas in my piece of crap truck with rust all over it. And I would see some punk 21-year-old kid in like a $75,000 BMW with his stupid ass sides of his head all shaved and his hair kind of like sticking up. And he's like, you're just a shit dog. I'm gonna shoot with his stupid ass BMW. And I literally have walked away from my gas pump before. And I would say, excuse me, can I ask you a question? Yeah. What up, bro? What up? I can't cuss on here. I said, bro, I have an 800 credit score. I have this much money in the bank. I'm all these things. How in the hell? And I was like, because I would come with a contrite heart, bro. I'm talking like a completely broken heart because I wanted to know the truth. How in the hell are you driving a $75,000 BMW? I want the truth right now. Tell me. I know you don't know me. I'm like, dude, I was the type of dude. I want to know your credit score, how much money you in the bank, and I want to see your W-2s. I want to know how are you driving this? This is how I was. I was so frustrated because everybody was rich besides for me. Do you know what this kid told me? His shoulders dropped and his whole attitude changed. He said, I live with my mom and dad, and my dad owns a business and he co-signed for it. And he pays for the insurance, and all I got to do is just make the car payment. And the car is so expensive that I literally like work at my dad's business, and I'm broke, and because this car is so expensive, but I look cool to my friends. Did you hear what I just said? Because I was so present when I asked. Yeah, exactly. That was great. All right, I'll tell you another secret because Jay Baby's on here laughing. Oh, no, Brian Tracy is a motivational speaker. He said something one time. He's a motivational speaker for like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He's still alive today, but I listened to all his stuff growing up. He taught me wise. He said a young guy gets out of high school. First thing he does is he's able to get a brand new drop top Mustang so he can impress the girls. And he ends up, that habit, it rolls him into a lifetime of debt and struggling. And I thought about something like that. I was like, wow, because I could go right now and go get the brand new Range Rover tomorrow morning. I could literally go sign and drive, and it would be the stupidest financial thing that I could do because nobody would care. Nobody would care that I had a Range Rover. Well, actually, because I make YouTube videos, it would probably actually make me more successful and make me more money because people would see that I have a Range Rover. Like, oh, wow, Keith must be making money. I gotta, oh my God, because we're as a society. So I keep up with the Joneses. All right. So what was I gonna say? Oh, it was so good. Where I live in on Hall Road off in Metro Detroit, Michigan. It's a mega metropolis. I'm talking if you go out onto the main road any time of day, you see Jaguar, Lexus, BMWs, Mercedes, Range Rovers, all over the place. And if you go a little bit north, you see miles upon miles upon miles upon miles of blocks after blocks after blocks after blocks of, $500,000 to $5 million houses. Like I'm talking, there's so much money and so many people with so much money that if you're not in the right mindset, you could literally get yourself worked up and be like, and you see like young people that are in their 20s driving $100,000 cars. Like I was literally just driving yesterday. I was on the phone with my wife. I got a brand new truck. I have a really nice truck. I was like at a red light in like $150,000 Porsche. I don't know. It was like a Carrera GT with like a fin on it was a Porsche turbo. It was one of the really nice, expensive Porsches, like a dream car. And there was like these two kids in their 20s with the radio up, like having a good time in a brand new Porsche. And I was like, what? And I wanted to ask, how are you driving that car right now? Do you have money put aside into like a Roth IRA? Are you systematically saving retirement? Are you putting money into cash flow producing assets that will stuff like that, I have no idea. I just had a very deep realization. I don't know if, yeah, I'm not going to say it on social media. I just realized a deeper reason why. Yeah, I'm not going to say it on social media. I wish it would be okay if I did, but I don't think I should because I would love to say it though. Yeah, it's just negative. I'm not going to say it. But here's my hope. I'm rooting for the underdog. I love to watch the person who grew up dirt poor eating ramen noodles. Like Lloyd Banks says, now I'm eating it. I was something like I'm eating in Rome and you're eating Roman noodles. That was funny. Um, but to go from the underdog, the person who grew up in a toxic, freaking traumatized, you know, life of being just like dirt poor with no role models to then get a grip and figure it out and go build a beautiful life and give to the world what they've been denied. So if you want to know what your purpose is, you can start out by giving to the world what you've been denied. And number one, it's a quality of presence. Growing up poor was one of the greatest blessings I've had. One of my great friends, Mr. Eric Reno, the founder of Paramount Building, he owns a very successful roofing company. We lived in a trailer park, the same trailer park. And we talk about how grateful we are that we were so broke. I was counting, I went to like 14 schools. I've had 50 jobs. I've lived in 31 homes. Um, My little sister came home. She was at the movies with my cousin and my beautiful mother. My sister found my mother on the ground unconscious, and my mother passed away. My mother was an unconditionally loving woman who would take in any stray animal, any dog. She even let homeless people come to her house so they could take a showers. And I think she washed all their clothes and fed them so they could clean up. That's how much my mom loved people, and she had no judgment. I loved my mother. She saw no color or anything like that. And she taught me. She just had these beautiful morals and knowledge and wisdom about the most basic things. And she equipped me with a lifetime of something that no money can buy. And I have a cousin who died of cancer. He was 50, actually. And I was sleeping because my mother had passed away too. And he had entered the gates of heaven. It was completely like white everywhere. And he was confused. He didn't know where he was supposed to go. And I was having this out of body experience. Like I was transported to heaven to witness this, or to the transitional place. It was amazing. And his name was Rocky and my mom was Ellen. Rocky was confused. And then all of a sudden a woman came up in a white gown with her hair flowing and her skin was like shining like the sun, like fair, beautiful skin, and her brown eyes. And she looked, and Rocky like looked at her and she said, Rocky, because they were like, first cousins. And she wrapped her arms around Rocky and she hugged him. And Rocky hugged her and he felt loved. And she took his hand and she led him into the afterlife. And I woke up in bed and I just started sobbing, crying uncontrollably. And I like jumped off the bed and I laid on the floor face first. And I was crying so hard, I was like convulsing. And my wife came in the room. She's like, what is going on? I was crying so hard, I couldn't even tell her. I think about things like this. Where were we before we were born? Was an infinity or an eternity? And after we're gone. So if we have this little tiny microscopic slice of time here, it's already gone. So I experienced this like grieving for my wife, and there's nothing to even grieve of yet. And I love her so much because I already miss her. And she's like, one day she asked me, she's like, she had this dream. Well, I won't get into her dreams. I want to honor her. But basically she says, do you love me? I'm like, of course. She goes, do you love me like forever? I'm like, yeah, forever, like infinity. She's like, well, do you think that we're going to be together in the afterlife? I'm like, well, wait, I'm not qualified to even know that. Apparently I've heard that like, it's so peaceful in heaven that you're not. And she's like, what do you mean? I thought we were going to be together forever, even in the afterlife. And she was like emotionally upset. And I was like, whoa, of course. And it's like, and I really hope, I completely hope that's true. So you don't waste a minute. You don't leave a word unsaid, and you have no regrets. My little dog died in my arms last summer. It was August 22nd, 9:34 p.m. And I gave him CPR. He had a heart attack. And I cried and I suffered grievously for about 6 months. It took me to stop crying for him because I kept seeing when I die one day, he'll come running to me in a field of grass and jump in my arms and we'll roll around and play together. And that hope is so real to me that it like keeps me going. So we tell ourselves these stories, and I love the stories and they feel so real because I think about the other side of it is to have no belief at all and to tell yourself a story. I have one of my best friends drank himself to death. And he used to say, when you die, you just take a big dirt nap. That's what he said. He's like, you take a dirt nap. He used to say a lot of crazy stuff, man. Anyways, let me get to some of these comments. Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Ed Milet, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, Difficult Conversations, Wild at Heart. Yes, those are all great books. Sean S., Seth Harcrow, Anthony Schilling.
I created a group called the Untrapped Alliance where we go live every other Wednesday night in a controlled environment. I'm sick of scrolling on social media. I'm sure you are too. Let's get focused on our businesses. We already started the group, so if you join at keithkalfas.com/alliance, you can get access to the replays. And the bonus is we're gonna have special guest experts who run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. They're gonna come on and teach us how to do sales, marketing, persuasion, close higher ticket jobs. These are people who got their shit together. And I'm really excited to have them on. Go to keithkalfas.com/alliance. I'll see you on the Wednesday night call. Let's
Sean
go.
S. Thank you, everybody. Austin Douglas from Ditch the Itch. Good evening, brother. You know what? Austin Douglas. I don't have to mention your business. It's this weird thing. I just speak to you as men, not talk about business constantly. Hey, new guy here. What's the topic? What's up, Eric Lambert? Dude, don't think about eternity. It'll bring on an aneurysm. I think about it often. Till death do us part. That's amazing. Dang, bro, that's my birthday. So, Tommy Lee Houston, videos are inspiring. Thank you, and you're welcome. I realize my fear of unlove and abandonment made me keep my wife's, all my in-laws' family at arm's length for years. These people loved me. They love me. My mother-in-law looks at me like I'm her son, right? I'm Uncle Keith. Everybody loves me, right? But I kept these people at arm's length because I was always terrified that at any moment their love for me was directly related to how my wife felt about me moment to moment. Basically, what I'm saying is that I was so deep down inside, my own traumas of abandonment made me feel like in any moment my wife would just decide she doesn't love me anymore. She doesn't want to be with me. And then the whole family, I would just become chopped liver to them in 2 seconds. And everything that I had been opening my heart to would be taken from me. And I would be a sucker and be suffering grievously for opening my heart. Even thinking about it makes me feel very uncomfortable in this moment. And I had to take a hard look at myself and go into deep reflection. And what I found was my story. And it was one Thanksgiving. It was years ago now. I realized basically that there was no place I'd rather be. And I walked into family dinner with my wife's family, who's my family, with a whole new attitude. I went around and I hugged everybody. And I've always been like, I go in, I have like, I go around with like a recorder and I do a podcast. I don't put it on my podcast, but I'll go around and interview everybody in the family. Who do you love and who loves you? What are you eating for dessert? And I take pictures and I videos, like I have all the memories and everything. It's like, um, I know that they love me very much. They love me dearly. And I've brought, my brother-in-law said one to me one time. He says, "You have no idea how much value you have brought into our family, Keith. Thank you." My father-in-law, which is my wife's father, who is a Chaldean man. He is an Arabic man. So what that means is, um, my wife was not excited about introducing me to her father because of you know, you just don't, how can I say this? Their culture is a little bit different. Um, anyways, my father-in-law says, "Keith, I love you so much, son, son." He goes, "Do you know how like happy I am that you're married to my daughter?" I couldn't, he's like, he's so happy. He's like, "I don't have to worry about anything." To hear that from my wife's father, worth $1 billion, more than $1 billion. You can't put a price on that. Those type of validations to me, when my brother-in-law told me like kind of the same thing, we were at the barbecue grill. I started crying. He's really tall, and I hugged him and I collapsed into like his armpit, and I was laughing and crying at the same time, because for the first time in my life, and for, working my guts out for 20 years, just wanting to be loved and being terrified I would be abandoned, I actually had the love and respect and honor of other men. And it was real. And to have other men turn to me and call me for advice, and to have my friends that I look at like are my brothers to call me when they're going through dark things they need help with, and to tell me that they trust me and they depend on me and they look up to me. Um, and to have men tell me that they did not commit suicide because they've watched my videos. And to go to live events and have men walk up to me with their families and tell me that my video helped them get off drugs and start a business. And now they have a wife and children and have a home, and they want to take a picture with me. And they're trying to give me credit for something I didn't do anything for. I didn't do anything. I just took out my phone and it was free, and I made a YouTube video and posted on Facebook too. I didn't really do anything, bro. You did it all. And if anything, I give all glory to him. He's the real boss. He's the father. So when you look up and follow this, well, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I follow this guy named Jesus Christ, dude. You got to learn about this guy, dude. Oh, here we go. 1 second. This whole thing was just a big setup. It was just a big setup. I was just trying to get you roped in and get you to let your guard down. Oh, it was my sneaky Jesus strategy. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric Lambert. What is somebody posting? All right. These mini Bibles are amazing. This book is called The Life and Teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. And so it's exactly like what he said in the stories that he taught. And I order these on a website called plusnothing.com. You can submit a donation and pay for it, and they'll ship them to you. What's up, Scott Dorn? I read this book cover to cover with my wife at night and in the evenings and in the mornings, and it was just transformational. There's nobody who has ever walked this planet that compares to Jesus, and he is completely logical and factual and practical. And check this out. I have these revelations that are so strong. They're these deep, epiphanizing, motivating, connecting of dots. What this man did permanently altered and changed, like the butterfly effect, history, humanity, all the decisions, everything to us being on technology and social media right now, this very moment, me on this microphone talking to you, all stems back to what he did. This is complete fact. You could be an atheist, and if you look at it and go all the way back, he changed everything. And he's got me talking about him right now. And so how about this? If you were a complete atheist and you say, and you looked all the way back, you still, if you really understood it logically, I think that you'd be pretty wise to say, you know what, I got a lot of gratitude for that guy. I'm so glad that that crazy guy did that. If you're from an atheist perspective, like, because what he did was so powerful, right? The people who did it to him thought he was crazy. The people who crucified him, they were mocking him. But he had so much unconditional love and so much, it was an ultimate act of service. It was not about him, at least what he believed. It was so powerful that it rocked humanity and made people make decisions 2,000 years later. His teachings are just amazing. He taught exclusive equity, which is the non-religious articulations and teachings of Christ. Exclusive equity is the highest law form. He brought a new covenant, and he did miracles. He healed all these people. I mean, like, so here's what I thought. I was like, so I feel like, here's what made me read the Bible cover to cover. I said, if I'm so obsessed with success and conscious development, and I've read 479 books, and I'm always reading and listening to audiobooks. I mean, I'm reading books cover to cover, and I got a Kindle. I read like 12 books last winter, and I've read just this year alone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. I mean, I'm always reading. And I've always been curious about God, and I grew up in church. And I can't even read the Bible once in my whole life. Then, like, can I just read it just once? So I said, you know what? I'm going to read a page a day, and I'm going to read it. So that's my rule, my must. I must read at least 1 page per day, and I'm not allowed to go to sleep. And sometimes I'll read 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pages. And I've been reading at least a page a day for, I think, 11 straight months now. And I read the whole Bible. And I started back from the beginning and I'm reading it again. And the things I'm learning, it's weird. It's like when you go into it, like they say, like you're ingesting it, like it's like you're eating like spiritual food. When you read it, that when you change the way you see things, the things you see change, right? You almost have to like take a little leap of faith and just try it as an experiment. And then when you do and you say, I'm just going to read this, I'm going to try this prayer thing. Let me try it. But here's the trick. Prayer is a spiritual technology. People run to God and they pray when they're going through hell. And when things, oh God, please, please get me out of this quicksand I got myself in, and I promise I'll never do that again. Or I'll, whatever. The scary thing is when God actually comes through or he reveals himself to you in ways that are like, there's no way that was a fluke. And then your mind starts playing tricks on you, goes, no, that was a coincidence. And then God does something again that's supernatural that you're like, no way. And then he does something again, and then again and again and again. And now you have like this stack of undeniable proof and you feel like a crazy person. And you're like, and then you go online and you see these incredibly successful people who also believe in God. So wait a second. They're incredibly successful. I'm not talking about just money and business, like with family and business and in a culture and but when it comes to but they're completely crazy about believing in God. That part of them is crazy. So I started like looking at some of the people that I looked up to the most happen to completely believe in God. And I was like, so here's where I was smart enough to go, wait a second. They know something that I don't. Ooh, look at this. Book of Proverbs. We got Larry Bird. I've only read Matthew, Mark, Genesis, and Exodus. I'm getting there. Pray for me. Jay Baby says, feel like they got all the knowledge. He says, I was gambling right before I read it. And I was like, oh. Yard Transformations LLC. If you have a broken arm, you would let a surgeon open you up to fix it. Why wouldn't you let Jesus work on your broken heart? Oh. All right. So I noticed that these really successful people also believed in God. I'm like, do they know something that I don't? How can they be so successful and also be completely crazy? Are they making this up? But why do they speak with such conviction? Because if you go and you watch like Isaiah Saldivar or Alexander Pagani, go on Instagram and type in Alexander Pagani. Actually, you would have to go back to some of his older stuff or just watch full sermons because you might not understand. You'll just see some guy who's really passionate, like raising his voice, like get confused. So Trevor Taylor, you just sent me $9.99 and said, keep preaching, brother. Anyone else want to pitch in? I just felt led to. Thanks for all you do. I love it. Thank you for sending me $10. I appreciate that. That's amazing. You know what's amazing? I got to be careful what I say. It's like if you donate to a charity, or you do something like, say, you help out a poor family, or you do something or give money to a homeless person or something, you're not supposed to go talk about it. But then it's like, how do you get the word out and do it? I'm glad I'm talking about this. So I have this profound friend named Joshua Latimer, and he talks about donating money to orphans, widows, and bug eaters. I was like, what is a bug eater? He said those people that are so consumed with doing God's work, like going out on the street and preaching for people and praying and taking care of people. They're so busy doing God's work that they don't even have time to run a business and go become financially successful. Financially become so successful that you can lend a hand to and support those people. And the Bible says orphans and widows and things like that. So imagine if you weren't made to be the type of person that can deal with going on the front lines, right? Then you could become an entrepreneur who makes so much freaking money. You can donate and give money or support financially causes of people who are on the front lines dealing with helping people or helping the less fortunate. Think about that. What type of cause does that stir inside of you to realize your own worth so much faster to now where you can be the person who takes action and helps, foundations, because a little bit goes a long way. Just in time outdoor services. I think I met you before, brother, at the Equip Expo. What up, dog? Trevor Taylor, God will make the word get out. All he asks us to do is obey in obedience. And if he can trust you with little, he'll trust you with more. But if he can't trust you with little, you ain't going to get no more. Why are people so cheap even when they have their life set and are well off, though? Norca Albert. Well, that's a generalization, and human beings generalize, delete, and distort things. Yes, there is a criterion percentage of people who are so cheap even when they have their life set. In my landscaping business, I know firsthand that the cheapest, greediest, most, well, I wouldn't say disrespectful, but it feels disrespectful. But the cheapest, greediest people I've ever had that were customers were definitely the ones with the most amount of money. Yes. Very stressful and confusing, isn't it? There's a story about that in the Bible. And one thing that made me really realize my worth and raise my prices in my landscaping business, I'll never stop saying this, at least as long as I'm doing this. The same customer who will talk you down or say no to their landscaping for $3,500 or whatever, $350, whatever the price is that makes you feel like, yes, this is what I need to be getting paid. And they'll be so cheap with you. That very same night, they'll literally go to the car lot that evening and they'll go pick up their brand new $100,000 BMW. That weekend, they'll be purchasing plane tickets to go to Bora Bora, and they'll be buying a $35,000 diamond ring and a brand new big screen TV and a $10,000 leather living room set. And so it's all completely fictional and irrational. And so don't buy it for a second that they're not spending the money with you. It's just they just don't care about that specific thing in that moment. It's strange. And that's why I really think that when you one of the biggest breakthroughs I've had, first with the window cleaning and then second with the landscaping business, is that what you're really actually selling and providing is a luxury service. So you want to sell luxury services to affluent people who have disposable income. You're selling a luxury service. Nice. The Dutch cut. Had a lady say she can't afford a spring cleanup this year, but I show up to a brand new SUV in her driveway. Yes. It's insane. We spend money for emotional reasons. How much do I want to say? I spend money for emotional reasons. You know what I mean? Like I've thought like, I gotta have a budget and I don't want to spend too much money right now. I want to budget and save more, right? And then I don't know, next thing you know, we're eating steak or something like that. Larry Bird says, Keith, I know a little to nothing about landscaping, but watch your vids because they're really good. I appreciate that, Larry Bird. Wow, Larry Bird, that looks like a picture from back in the day. Back when they used to battle against like the Pistons. That's from the Boston Celtics. Man, that's amazing. Okay, my friends. I'm Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped podcast. I've been making videos on social media. Actually, my whole life I've been making videos, but I started this channel late 2013. We've collectively on social media got 80 million views online because I post so much content. I love to inspire people. I inspire emerging entrepreneurs to start and grow their landscaping business from 0 to 100K with my videos and business building programs. If you want something to listen to while you work, you can go on the Untrapped podcast on all podcast platforms, and we put out 1 to 2 shows per week. We've put out about 300 episodes. We got 850,000 downloads on the Untrapped podcast. You can listen to it while you work. If you like this type of deep inner game talk, I don't normally talk about stuff like this. I have another YouTube channel where I talk about this stuff exclusively, including some Bible studies. It's called I Am Ability. We just crossed 5,000 subscribers over there. That's all the deep stuff that I talk about that, frankly, if I talked to this deep all the time on social media, I don't know, it's just a rabbit hole. So I keep it topic specific. If you're into the window cleaning business, I have a channel called the Window Cleaning Blueprint YouTube channel. I started that in 2016. We just crossed 23,000 subscribers. It's strictly window cleaning content. If you're into landscaping, green industry, outdoor services stuff, my channel, it was called the Landscaping Employee Trap. Now it's just called Keith Kalfas on YouTube. We just crossed 157,000 subscribers over there. We just finished season 1 of the Entrepreneur Shop Tour series. We traveled the country and we interviewed entrepreneurs all over the country. And that'll all be coming out for free on my YouTube channel soon. It's really inspiring. We interview a bunch of amazing, smart business owners. And I also put out content, 2 to 3 videos a week about landscaping. And then also, I would like to invite you, if you need some deep inner game coaching on your business. I have a breakthrough. It's basically breakthrough coaching. We go live on a private group every other Wednesday night, and I have special guest experts on who have built, multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses who are just truly wizards. And as a favor to me, they come on and they teach our group marketing, branding, selling. Oh, it's freaking incredible. It's very valuable stuff. It's called the Untrapped Alliance is my private group. You can become a member by opening up your browser and typing in keithkalfas.com/alliance. And it's also a paid for group. You can, it's a subscription, but you can cancel literally anytime that you want. You can self cancel. You just go in, cancel and you don't get billed anymore. The cool thing is you get immediate access to all the replays, and it's not a bunch of fluff. Like, we get straight down to business immediately. So it's a really results driven type of thing. But either way, I suggest you invest in yourself, invest in your business, dive into audiobooks, read books, listen while you work, join some type of mastermind group. The free entertainment info stuff it's on YouTube. I mean, you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube, but you'll get stuck. The best amount of information that's going to make you more successful faster is the stuff that you pay for. And usually you get what you pay for. So getting to the point where you strictly just pay for information and education and get off of social media and pay for information. There is some really good free stuff out there, but that's when you start getting ahead faster. The people I know that are most successful are they join, $15,000, $25,000, $50,000 mastermind groups, and you're basically paying for who's not in the room, right? That's how you get ahead faster. And what is get ahead? I don't know. What are you optimizing for? If you want to optimize for amount of lives impacted or souls saved or people brought to Christ, that's a huge thing. What's going on? But if you want to optimize for lots of money, be careful. But you can do that too. You can make lots of money. I'm just reading these last final comments. The free stuff gets you above water. Paid stuff helps you swim. Yeah. And just for context, I've recently dropped $13,000, $13,500 I've invested into one consultant to help me. I've paid $2,500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, $3,500, I think $5,000, another $2,500. I've blown thousands of dollars. I've been all over the country. I've probably invested $65,000 just into online courses and coaching and consultants. I've paid $1,000 an hour to talk to coaches on the phone for 1 hour. $1,000 an hour I've paid multiple times. And you know what you get when you pay $1,000 an hour to talk to somebody? Unless you're getting ripped off, you get about $10,000 worth of advice for $1,000. So that might sound insane, but trust me. Well, don't trust me. Go find out for yourself when it comes to that, because I'm not telling you to go spend $1,000 an hour. But and I've also, I wouldn't say been ripped off, but I've invested thousands of dollars into programs where I go through the whole program and I'm like, bro, I'm not any farther off than when I started. How much is my group subscription? It's $97 a month. You get instant access to all the replays, and then you get notified as an Alliance member, Untrapped Alliance, and then you join our private group on Wednesday night. For instance, this next Wednesday, we have Ryan Kettering. He's our special guest expert. He's the founder of Prolific Prints. He's a marketing and branding expert. They do vehicle wraps. They do social media rebrands, and he's a wizard when it comes to transforming the look and feel of your business and your business perception to your customer, to match a customer. But so basically you have a memorable brand and lots of people want to give you money. He's one of the most smart people I've ever met in my entire life. And so he's coming on as a guest to teach you stuff that, I don't know, you might not learn in 20 freaking years running a service business as just a landscaper. So that's why he's coming on We had a call on there. Here's a replay you get access to. Dan Plata, the home service CFO, bro. He teaches how to read financial statements, profit and loss, how to understand your money coming in and going out and measuring the money. He talked about how to hire employees the right way. Dude, we've had just amazing people on there. And so it's really good stuff. But if you get in as a member and you don't, I also transcribe all the replays into MP3s so you could download them and listen to them while you work. If you get in and you don't like it, dude, send me an email. I'll give you your money back. I don't need your $97. But my hope is that I just wanted to create something that was truly valuable. And we did. We created the Untrapped Alliance. So it's keithkalfas.com/alliance. Anyways, much honor and respect to you, my friends. And over and out.
Hey, I hope you liked the show. And if you like the Untrapped podcast and you get value from it, can you please take a minute and go over to Spotify and leave it a well-worded positive 5-star review? It helps boost the rankings on Spotify so the show can get to more people. Therefore, these messages can get out to more people and inspire more people so then they can go out and start their small businesses and crush it and get to the next level. It's a huge deal. All right, I'll see you in the next show.